This is Platinum Northwest TV News. Good evening and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Philadelphia Mangoeng. These are the leading top stories. First up, the ANC Youth League in Bojanala has condemned the murder of Northwest University student in Rustenburg, and 3 suspects have been arrested for an alleged muthi murder in Brits. In the business news, South African government implements strategic trade actions in response to the US tariffs. And in the sports news, Bafana defeat Guinea at the African Nations Championship. We begin here. The ANC Youth League Regional Task Team in the Bojanala region has expressed profound concern over the persistent rise in gender-based violence and sexual assault. Now, this urgent appeal comes in the wake of the tragic murder of Onale Naseleboga, a Northwest University student who was allegedly killed by her boyfriend on the 3rd of August in Rustenburg. The lifeless body of the 21-year-old was discovered in a flat in central Rustenburg with multiple stab wounds to the neck. The suspects fled the scene but later handed himself over to the police earlier this week. Now, the suspect is set to appear for his bail hearing next week Monday, with police investigations still ongoing. The killing has sparked outrage during Women's Month, a time meant to honor and protect women. Community members have described the incident as another painful reminder of the gender-based violence crisis affecting South Africa. In other news, a warning for the viewers as the story contains disturbing details. Now, 3 men have been arrested in connection with a murder that was allegedly committed back in 2023. This comes after the mutilated, partly burnt and badly decomposed body of the then 20-year-old woman Makubela, who had been reported missing by her family, was recovered at a refuse dumping site in Elandskraal. Here's Brigadier Sabata Mokhabona with more details.
Due to meticulous and unrelated investigation by the District Serious and Violent Crimes Team on Wednesday, the 6th of August 2025, acting on credible information and after having followed up on all the leads, 2 suspects were arrested. The 2 suspects, aged 29 and 38, are positively linked to the murder after the police recovered the deceased's cell phone. Further investigation led the police to Winterveld in Gauteng province, where the 3rd suspect was arrested after being found in possession of deceased's organs. Investigations have since revealed that the victim was tricked and lured to death by the 29-year-old suspect, who was tasked by the 2nd suspect to find a young woman to be murdered in order that the 2nd suspect could have her organs for muthi. Investigation has also revealed that the 30-year-old suspect is an illegal Mozambican witch doctor who, on his orders, the deceased was kidnapped before she was brutally murdered, dismembered and burned. In addition to the murder, the first 2 suspects will be charged with kidnapping, violation and/or defiling a corpse, as well as contravention of Section 49(1) of the Immigration Act against the Mozambican upon appearance before the Brits Magistrate Court today. The 3rd suspect, who is also a traditional healer from Mozambique, is expected to appear in the Garankuwa Magistrate Court on Monday, 11 August 2025. Investigations into the matter continue and there are possibilities of more arrests.
In more news now, the Government Pensions Administration Agency is set to appear before the Portfolio Committee on Public Service and Administration to explain the circumstances surrounding an alleged ghost contract with nearly 1 billion rand. Now, the GPAA allegedly agreed to the contract without following the correct procurement procedures, which entails leasing a non-existent building for the organization's headquarters for the next 10 years. According to News 24, the agency had already paid allegedly millions to contractors for work on offices it does not have access to, raising the cost of the lease of Brooklyn Bridge office in Pretoria to over 1.2 billion rand. Now, the committee has warned that any GPAA officials involved in the alleged corruption will face disciplinary action, including referral to law enforcement bodies. Moving on to international news now, Australia's Prime Minister has accused his Israeli counterpart Benjamin Netanyahu of being in denial over the consequences of the war in Gaza. Anthony Albanese has announced that his country would recognize a Palestinian state at the UN General Assembly in September, following similar moves by the UK, France and Canada. Albanese said their frustration with the Israeli government had played a role in the move, saying that Australians want to see the killing and the cycle of violence stopped. Let's take a look.
Today I can confirm that at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in September, Australia will recognise the state of Palestine. Australia will recognise the right of the Palestinian people to a state of their own, predicated on the commitments Australia has received from the Palestinian Authority. We will work with the international community to make this right a reality. Australia is making this statement today following our Cabinet meeting as part of a coordinated global effort building momentum for a two-state solution. Over the past fortnight, I have discussed this with Prime Minister Starmer, President Macron, Prime Minister Luxon and Prime Minister Ishaba, as well as Prime Minister Netanyahu last Thursday and President Abbas last Tuesday. A two-state solution is humanity's best hope to break the cycle of violence in the Middle East and to bring an end to the conflict, suffering and starvation in Gaza. The international community's vision for a just and lasting peace in the Middle East always encompassed two states, living side by side with internationally recognised borders, a state of Israel and a state of Palestine, with security for the people of both nations.
Now, Israel, under increasing pressure to end the war in Gaza, has said that recognizing a Palestinian state rewards terrorism, and Netanyahu called the decision taken by Australia and other allies as shameful. With that, let's get an update now on the business news. In the business news, in the wake of the recent 30% unilateral tariff imposed by the United States, which officially took effect last Thursday, South Africa's government has mobilized a multifaceted response aimed at mitigating the adverse effects on its economy. The strategy is anchored on 5 critical elements, underscoring a commitment to international trade and economic stability. The government has prioritized continued engagement with the U.S. to negotiate terms that could lead to a reduction of these tariffs. A revised offer connecting to the previous proposal made in May 2025 has received cabinet approval, responding directly to key concerns raised in the U.S. 2025 National Trade Estimates report. This new offer makes significant strides in addressing sanitary and phytosanitary measures relevant to South African exports, including that of poultry, blueberries and pork, critical commodities for trade between the two nations. As positive outcome of these negotiations, the USA Africa Trade Desk has confirmed that shipments of poultry and pork from states such as Georgia, Mississippi and Alabama will head to South Africa in the next 2 weeks, signaling a breakthrough in compliance with biosecurity protocols. And that's all from the business news. Your sports update follows next. In soccer news, Bafana secured their first victory in Group C on Monday night, defeating Guinea 2-1 at the Mandela Stadium in Kampala. This followed their previous 1-1 draw against Algeria in the opening match of the African Nations Championship last week. Guinea dominated possession during the initial stages of the match and applied early pressure on Bafana while seeking to secure an opening goal. As South Africa adopted a more defensive stance, Molefi-Ntseki's team remained patient, awaiting a chance to counter-attack. Despite Guinea's offensive efforts, South Africa then took the lead in the 10th minute. Now, following a direct advance into Guinea's half, a coordinated sequence between Thabiso Kutumela and Nel Maema, Guinea pushed hard in the final minutes, regaining control as the 80th minute approached. Now, South Africa held off the opposition's late attack, with Kutumela's 54th minute goal securing victory in Kampala. Moving on to rugby news now, Springbok head coach Rassie Erasmus has announced a formidable team for the upcoming ANCYL Lager Rugby Championship opening match against Australia at Ellis Park on Saturday. The matchday roster features 18 Rugby World Cup winners and only one player making his Test debut during the ANCYL Lager incoming series. Erasmus elaborated on his rationale for selecting Captain Siya Kolisi in the number 8 position, deviating from his customary number 6 role. The Springboks will face the Wallabies in consecutive fixtures at Ellis Park, followed by Cape Town the following week. Kwagga Smith, a conventional number 8 specialist, has been included among the replacements in the forward contingent, alongside 4 additional forwards and 3 backs.
Then you look at the pack, I don't think anybody can argue that that front row starting is definitely, if they're not the best, they're very close to the best in our squad, and there's 1 or 2 guys off the bench. Pongi is very experienced. Wolfjan Hendrik, who's a youngster who's played against Australia before, and giving us a run with experienced guys like Pongi next to him. Who's off the, Luet and even, they understand each other, they've played under these circumstances. And then Marcus Sia and Peter Steff. I think it's pretty solid, but we hope if things goes according to plan, next week we'll hopefully give some other guys. There'll be a few guys that swing in both matches, but yeah, I think it's a relatively strong team that we picked.
And that's where we're going to have to wrap it up for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again tomorrow evening. Till then, have a blessed night. Good night and take care.